approach. The microphone with a pocket full of dough. The king of the coast, I'm rocking the boat and stroking your folks and loking with locs. Baby boy got smoke. Nigga, what up?
Oh.
Just a second. But now.
No. Yeah.
Okay, great. It's so good to see you. Much better than just seeing myself. It's my great pleasure. It's really nice to see you. Guys, is it okay for you if I record? So Petra told me that it's okay for everyone else as well. Okay, perfect. If not, just tell me, I can switch it off. It's not a problem at all. Guys, today we have so interesting topic. We will talk about communities, and I have some very interesting information for you, and I hope you have interesting information for me, because you had a nice homework to check the couple of leaders, let's say, in the space. I hope you did it. If not, it's not a problem. We can discuss it anyhow. Because I think you know them at least a little bit, and I know them as well, and we will find some interesting points to discuss them, how those guys are actually managing the communities, creating the communities, and what is so special about them. Tell me first, how are you?
Good. It's always a good...
Excited.
Yeah, and always a good thing on Monday evenings. Normally
Yes.
we are tired, or it's a long day. It's been a Monday. It's always like a lot of work, but I
totally understand that. I totally understand that. So that's why, don't worry, this is like a relaxed training, but nevertheless we will learn a lot. And I was thinking about how to teach the community, and there is no better way than to create the community. And this is what we are doing actually now. We have a certain target that we want to reach. We have a certain mission today. And all these elements that we are implementing today, it's actually what we want to learn today. It's basically how to create a community. We are a small community in the moment, but nevertheless, we are the community. And that's why this kind of training. So it's not a webinar, it's more interactive. And if you want any time to stop me, to ask something, or to give me your opinion, it would be really, really nice. Then we can learn a lot, I'm sure. Is this okay for you?
Sure. Go for it.
Perfect. For everyone else who is in the room, but not with a camera and micro, it's up to you. If you want to turn on micro, fine, and camera, of course, great. If not, this is fine as well. So it's up to you. Today, it's a relaxed session. And I didn't start it with punk music. So I wanted, so then I decided not to start with punk music. Let me just check the presentation, and then we can jump. Before I share with you lots of ideas and thoughts and so on, and before you share with me your thoughts, let me give you something, a couple of information about myself in relation to the communities, followers, social networks, and so on, because most of you know me from Twitter, of course, and maybe some of you from YouTube. But I'm running much more communities, and this is a small part of that, and I'm sure you will be very surprised. I'm old guy, let's say, so I started a couple of years ago, mostly on Facebook. A couple of years ago, Facebook was very famous, of course, and on the left side you see a couple of communities that I created and that I'm still managing. But most of them are not really active anymore, not that much, but they are active, of course, and existing. And you will see that there are lots of members in all of them. For example, Abnehmen egal wie. Guys from Germany will understand. It's something related to the fitness and to losing weight and so on. There are 45,000 members inside of that group, so it's quite interesting. The another one, what shall I eat if I want to lose the weight? You see, I was at that time point losing the weight, so you see that's why those groups. With 15,000, then there is a smaller one with running with almost 2,000 members, and there is a page on the Facebook with around 5,000 members, and so on and so on and so on. And that's why I think it's quite okay to talk about that, to talk about my experience in all those groups and all those communities. And of course, in the Web3, we are running as well community of students. I'm not sure if you know that, but we published already 5 different NFT collections, and all of them have communities around them with people which are managing them and which are maybe not that active in the moment anymore, of course, because we are focusing on teaching and not on communities, but we know how to deal with that. So this is just for you to know that if I'm telling you something, it's basically based on all those experiences which I collected over there. And I think it's quite not bad. Furthermore, disclaimer, I have to start with that always. I'm not financial guy, I'm engineer, blah, 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 you know, all that stories. So do your own research and so on. But I have to do that because, of course, some people are really, you know, sometimes putting in the responsibility on the wrong place, telling me, you told me that this is a good project and I invested and I lost the money. So I have to say, sorry guys, but I don't know how to invest. And actually I'm not really investing. So, but just for you to know that. Then, before we go into the communities, I want to ask you for a short favor. There is a homepage which we have, which is called apeschool.xyz. On that homepage, there is a part of the homepage where we are trying to collect testimonials from the students. It would be really, really nice if you could write something, your opinion, how did you like the training till now, what is okay for you, what could be better, and so on. We are using that, of course, for the other students, and they really love that, to hear the experiences from the students, and then to join the community and to join the movement to learn or not. And that's why it would be really nice if you do that. Not now, you can do it whenever you want, later, of course. Then I want to remember you on something at the end. We are now in the 5th session. This means we will have 2 more sessions, this one and 2 more. In the next one, we will talk about financial issues, about investments, and I will present you the different possibilities of investment in the Web3 space. We will learn what are the differences between staking and lending and what are the other financial instruments which are very important and interesting in the space. And in the last session, we will learn about metaverse. So we have 3 sessions, 1 today and 2 more. And at the end, all of you will earn, let's say, and get an NFT. And this NFT is Ethereum-based NFT. You will not need to mint by yourself. You will get it airdropped in your wallet. And this is quite interesting. You see the picture of one of those NFTs on the right side of the slide. These are, and I can show you even some more. They are looking like this. All of them are one-on-one. All of them are created by an artist, which is actually not doxed, but he is our member of our team in the Ape School. And they are really interesting. And what is very special about those NFTs, first, of course, they are derivatives of the Bored Ape, of course. This is quite interesting. They are created by the artist. They are not generated with a computer, with a hand. And they are created on this way. So this means there is a graphical representation of the NFT, which is basically a picture of the ape. And there is, of course, something which we call school metadata. It's something that we developed, let's say, because we wanted to input the certificates relevant data, like your name, like date of the training, and so on, in the metadata. So they are not on the certificate itself, they are in the metadata. This is enabling you, let's say, to sell the NFT if you want, because the artistical value of the NFT is not destroyed. You have your personal data, of course, in the metadata, but the artwork is still not touched and original like it was. I think this is quite interesting. Okay, but I will inform you in the last session about more details about that. So now let's start with the revolution. So on the beginning of the session, in first session, I think, or in the second session, I told you that we have something like revolution. Johannes, you like the idea? That's good. Yeah, it was as we started the training and this kind of project, Ape School project, we were thinking how to create actually the value out of the certificates, because usually the values are already just personal. You have the values because you want to remember that you were there. And the idea was, let's keep the artwork and not destroy it by writing on it. And it's quite interesting to do it like that. Coming back to the revolution, I told you that Web3 is actually revolution. And I explained you that the revolution is something else, that it's not decentralization. This is nice to have, but it's not the point, because it's a technology. And at the end, there is no real decentralization, because there are always projects. Projects are always centralized because somebody is leading them. There are, let's say, companies which are behind, they're earning money. So it's not actually the decentralization, and it's not the blockchain. But there were several topics which we discussed, which are actually representing the revolution. And one of them was the possibility to label abstract and digital products. Suddenly, with NFTs, for example, the industry is able to put the label, and NFT is nothing else than a label, technical label, on the product which is actually not really existing, and even abstract, like knowledge, for example. And this is the real revolution. And nowadays, we have even standards, new standards of the NFTs, which are working like wallets, let's say. And why is this even more the revolution? Imagine retailers, for example, which have usually shelves, and on the shelves there are lots of products, of course. Those products are actually shipped with, I don't know, with some kind of logistic company or whatever. And now the new technology is enabling each truck to be NFT and to contain, for example, certain products which are labeled with NFTs as well. Imagine the situation that I'm the owner of the logistic company. I have my car, let's say, which should deliver certain products to the store. My car is NFT. And because the technology is like that I can put in my car, means wallet, means NFT, another NFT, like for example, milk, which is labeled with NFT, I'm creating suddenly traceability, 100% traceability, even without necessity to really write on blockchain. And this is the new technology, this is the new standards, which is just created, let's say. And I'm expecting lots of interesting business concepts related to that. Even the shelves in the stores could be treated as NFTs, and the products on the shelf could be treated as products, as NFTs, which are part, like in the wallet, let's say, of that shelf NFT. You see, if you just a little bit extend the way how you see the NFTs, and if you understand them differently, you will get the definition what is actually revolution. And now, if we are talking about the major difference between Web 2 and Web 3, and I'm mostly talking about businesses, of course, as you just see, one of the biggest parts of the revolution is related to the customers and markets. In Web 2, you have traditional customers and traditional markets which are buying your products, which are maybe creating kind of relationship to you as a company, and so on. In Web 3, you have communities, which are like extended version of the markets, like extended version of the customers, much more loyal because they are following same principles, they are following same visions and same missions. Imagine that you are going to Aldi to buy something. You don't have any kind of relationship to that kind of retailer. Aldi is one of the discounter in Germany. You just go there, grab your products, and you go out. There is nothing, no relationship, no common mission, nothing. It's a Web 2. In the Web 3, you are buying something because you want to be part of the story. You want to be part of the mission. You want to be to have the same vision as all other people which are buying the same product. And this is community. The communities are actually the dream markets of the companies. The Web 2 companies and Web 2 products and customers have usually less feeling. They have a less feelings towards production, towards companies and retailers and sellers. And in the Web 3 space, there is a really close connection between companies, projects, project managements, and so on, and the community members. And this is the revolution. This is totally different in the Web3 space. I'm sure you understand that because most of you have already certain NFTs and most of you are already part of the certain communities. And if you ask yourself, why are you part of that community, you will understand immediately what I'm talking about. Before we go into the homework part, let me give you just a couple of more information, let's say, about creation of the community, because this is the next very important point. Creating the community, and I'm now again taking the perspective of the business, taking the perspective of the project itself. If I'm company, if I'm project, I want to create actually the new market and I want to create actually new customer base. And the community is like a magic tool because I'm able through the community to create customer and market at the same time. And if this community is big, my market will be big, of course, and the number of customers will be big. If the community is smaller, the market will be smaller. But both cases are very good. It's depending, of course, on the product and depending on the project that you want to implement. This is one important point. And another important point is what are actually those customers, means community members, buying? Usually people are thinking, and I was thinking the same as I was 100% in the Web2 space, I was thinking that the companies, that the people are buying products and the people are buying actually that's what I'm doing as a manager, as an owner of the company. It was clear for me that the owner of the company is very important and his branding and so on. But I thought always that I'm the key and what I'm doing, that's the key. But actually it's not. The key is that what I'm doing, more or less the reasons why I'm doing something. This is what the customers are actually buying. So they are not buying the products, they are buying the reasons why the founders are doing something. And this is one of the reasons why I told you and asked you to create the homework to analyze certain founders in the space to see what those guys are actually doing. Are those guys creating products or are those guys creating the reasons for something? And reason is always related to the emotions. It's always related to the experiences, the why, and not what. And this is the big difference between Web 2 and Web 3. And that's the point what I wanted to, from you, let's say, to analyze and to find out how those guys, and we had 3 of them, are actually able to create this kind of magic. We had the 3 of them. We had Frank. Frank is actually the founder of the Gods, community called the Gods, very interesting NFT project. We had Betty, which is actually founder of the project called Dead Fellas. And we had Pudgy Penguins, and with Luca, let's say, as a founder. All of them are different, let's say, but all of them have something in common. And I hope if we have a chance to get a short presentation about each of them, that we will be able to identify what is actually common for all of them. Because if we understand what is common to those guys, how those guys are doing that, if we understand how the mentality of communities is actually and psychology, we will be able to do it by ourselves. We will be able to create our own communities. And we will discuss a little bit later what is actually community. You can even treat the number of the followers that you have as a community. And it is actually community because they are following you because they want to be on the same mission like you are. They are identifying with you as a leader of the mission, let's say, because you have a certain vision and they want to follow it as well. So the followers can be treated as a community. This means if you are not running to create your own project, but the number of followers could be helpful for you anyway, because you are in the Web3 space, whatever you want to do, it's good to have members of your community, let's say, and this is basically number of followers. We will discuss this and you will learn, let's say today, after we discuss the homework, how to do that and what is actually important to create all those followers and all those communities. But let's start with first homework. By the way, I told you that the best group, we had 3 groups. I hope the people from the groups are there. If not, I will take this topic. I told you that the best group will win $100 in it. This is not bad. If you have a 3-person in the group, if you all took part on the homework, it's not bad. It's 33 or something like that dollar. Okay, but it's up to you. If not all members took part and created a presentation, it's up to you to tell me, and then I will split it, of course, a little bit different. The first group was Darko, Ivana, and Johannes. Did you analyze Frank? Are you there first?
I'm
Johannes is there, yes, but Darko and Ivana are not there, I think.
No, and I just had contact with Ivano, with Darko, not at all. So he didn't answer last time.
So this means you created the analysis of Frank by yourself, alone.
Yes.
This is perfect. Then you can earn $100. So it's even better.
So I put in the name of Ivana because I was in contact with her, but then she also told me that she's very busy today and so on.
No problem at all. Would you like to present us your result?
Yes,
okay.
Try to share.
For all other people that are in the room, please, during the session or after the session, give the note from 1 to 5. 5 means perfect, 1 means could be improved. And at the end, we will have a total number of points, and the guy with the most points will win 100, or the group with most points will win $100.
Okay. Do you see my screen already?
We see your screen, yes.
Okay. Then I'll start. So I had the honor to talk about FranDegods with the question, what makes him so special? And yeah, actually wasn't not that easy. I also didn't find good German content. So, but of course, I found some English stuff, watched some videos, and yeah. So first of all, to talk about the person, so he's the founder of the two big NFT projects, DeGod and Youths. I will talk about the projects later. Then he's a co-founder of D-Labs. That's the company which is now behind these projects. He's very young. We've had just one information where they were talking about 24. He was on the University of California, Los Angeles, where he studied something with film, but aborted the university. Then he made some also pretty successful startup experiences, and also had funding campaigns, also then later in Web3 space. On Twitter, he's pretty famous. He has more than 200,000 followers on his Twitter profile. Here on the left, you can see his profile pic he uses on Twitter. What was very special about him is that he was always anonymous. He was in a lot of interviews where he talked about his project, but always wearing masks and so on. But in November 2020, he decided to dox himself. His real name is Rohun Vora, and that's on the right how he looks like. In real life, so yeah, he looks a bit chaotic, but he's a very clever and smart guy. So I found about the size. I found one statement from NFT Now that called it a 250 million multi-dollar multi-chain empire. So to my facet, I will come later. So his projects are the DGods. That's one example you see here on the left. And the other one is Youths, where you can see on the right one example picture. What they had in common, they were both created on the Solana networks, where there's a biggest project. But then after all the troubles with Solana, so in end of last year, beginning of this year, the projects were moved to other blockchains, the DGods to Ethereum and the Youths to Polygon network. From the DGods, there are also meanwhile some ordinals on the Bitcoin network. Both projects are very successful in terms of general successful, but also in terms of floor price. Their DGods are nearly 10 ETH and the Youths around 2 ETH. So there were some very special ideas about these projects. One is that there are, for example, there's a DAO and it's a decentralized autonomous organization, so where really the community can vote for decisions, how to continue and so on. And there are also the clubs for special interests. So you see it's all a very strong, strongly community driven. What he also offers you then D-Labs is that you can stake the NFTs. There is also existing a kind of a coin which is called Stardust. And now what's really very special is that it's a deflationary collection of PFPs. They had a mechanism with a very nice name, in my opinion. It's paper hand bitch tax called. And that means if you want to sell lower than, I think it was originally, it was the lower than the mint price, or so if you are then below the actual floor, you have you sell it, there will be a 33.3% tax. And this what the community's earnings versus tax will be collected again, and then they will sweep the floor again and burn these NFTs, so that in the future there will be less NFTs. And what I also read is that there's existing a partnership with Blur, which is also, from my opinion, a bit special, because Blur is not really seen as a good institution for the Web3 NFT space. Yeah, that were the facts about the project. So to summarize it, so he's a real Web3 guy with some very revolutionary ideas, or I called it also other ideas. His main focus or his main aspects are on the one hand storytelling, very strong community, and also something like he's calling it's culture building. Okay, that was it from my side.
Very good analysis. Thank you very much. Lots of facts. Great. Well done. Maybe somebody wants to comment a little bit or to add something. Randall, you know Frank probably also very good. If you want to add something, you are welcome, of course. Or somebody else. If not, I will comment it a little bit. It's a typical engineer view on the in this case, like Germans are usually. So
I'm an
fact-driven.
engineer. Sorry.
I see that.
Oh, really?
Because I'm too. It's brilliant. I love that because there is no game. You know exactly what the facts are, and I love that because this is needed in order to understand. But what we don't understand, and this is very important for the communities, creation of the communities is not engineer-driven process. It's something else. You need the feelings, you need emotions. And Frank is like a genius in being a guy who is a part of the game. He's always like a best friend, like a best buddy. He's in all spaces. He's drinking the beer out of the shoe. He's giving the people the feeling that he's one of them, simply one of them, on one side.
That's
on the other side, yes. Well, you didn't know
I never
that.
knew. Yeah, well, no, I didn't know that because I saw all this little film and whatever, and was thinking, why the heck is he always drinking out of the
Yes.
shoe? I don't get it.
This is part
Sorry.
of the game. So he is a genius in the area of marketing, and his marketing is to be part of the gang, to be part like a brother, like a big brother on one side. On the other side, he is very creative. He has ideas which almost nobody has, but all of those ideas are always related to the creating the feeling in other person. For example, in the New York, as there was a New York NFT conference a couple of months ago, he rented the complete hotel for the people from his community. And you can imagine how was it there. It was absolutely great because the
It
people
was a
are
party.
young. It was a big party, exactly. And these guys wanted party. So this means he knows his community exactly, and he knows exactly what those guys really want and what they enjoy. And this is his strength, not the details of the project, because the details of the project, he has developers, he has the company which is running the developments and all those products and so on. So it's really, really genius guy. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was great. Guys, other guys, give the points in the chat that I can add them later so that we have one winner. So please give the points from 1 to 5. And later I will make a summary of the points and we will have one winner. In between, let's move to the next community.
Just a short question. Five is for much.
The best.
Thank you ever so much.
Yes. So 5 is the best. 1 could be improved. Okay, so there is no bad results. The results are absolutely perfect, all of them, because you learned something about that. So don't worry about that. Yes, Petra, sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. I'm good. Just to put on top the point, let's say.
You're great.
For German engineer. Yes. Absolutely, yes. But if everybody gets 5, then we have lots of winners. So I have to think what to do in that case.
Unfortunately, or say it's a stroke of fortune, all the presenters tonight will be from Germany.
Perfect, no problem. Then we will have lots of engineers. But let me just give the one more point, because there is one important sentence, and this is, I took it from his interview, and he had an interview a couple of months ago. And this was the description of himself, about himself. He was telling us what is his major point, let's say, if he wants to create a good community. And you see over there, he wants to create a safe place for everyone so that everyone feels good and can be creative as he wants. So this is his major target. And this is explaining absolutely everything what he is doing. He is creating the nice and safe environment for the people which are in that environment in order to feel good, to be what they are. And this is really nice. Let's move to the next guy or lady. It's Betty. And the topic was a really interesting person and the community really interesting. And Petra, Miguel, and Mia were part of the task force, let's say. How do you want to present? Did you analyze it?
I did, yeah. No, we did, but I was chosen. I'm the chosen one for presentation.
Okay. Would you like to present your results?
Germany 12 points. Well, yeah.
Germany 12 points. Yes.
Yeah, well, funny thing will be from the engineer to the storyteller, so that might be funny. And oh heck, I got no idea how.
There is a
do
button, share screen, the red one
Yeah.
with two screens and the line in the middle. That
Yeah, I got that one. But I got it in my Dropbox. You know, it's not a tab. Why I see. Wait a sec, Philip.
Yeah.
No problem. In between, we can talk a little bit about Betty and the project.
So, habe ich.
Hast du das irgendwo muss da eine Präsi sein?
Ja, die ist in der Dropbox.
Ja, hast du die schon geöffnet?
Nein.
Dann mach sie mal auf.
Okay.
Du musst sie erst aufmachen.
Okay. Das ist bei Zoom immer anders. Warte mal, wo ist denn das jetzt? Nicht, dass ich schon ein bisschen aufgeregt
Is this the right lesson? German engineer analysis on founders and communities? Why not? This is good.
Hang on a second. Now I have to open it. What
Don't
the
worry,
heck?
take your time.
Yeah, I will. But if you got your husband on the back who says, "What the heck do you have on your screen?"
Yes. You got so much data. That's what I'm talking about.
So, and now?
Und jetzt, nein, den kannst du wegmachen. Wobei, halt, warte mal, doch teilen. Hast du das hier irgendwo?
Nein.
Dann geh mal auf Abbrechen. Jetzt klick
I
mal
can
auf den
maybe till you find the solution, I can present you
jetzt irgendwo?
another one.
Dago, excuse me, I have to
No
ask
problem.
because I have it on my laptop, but it's not on Google Map. I don't know how to share it.
We can do it like this. I can type you my email address.
I got it. Hang on, I got it. Find
Okay.
it. It should be there.
Otherwise, you can read it. It's also fine. We don't need optical presentation.
No, I want to
It's
show
okay.
it. I want to show it. I put so much time on that. It's good, and I want you to see it. But I got no. Maybe the next group can start, and I figure out how the heck I get my material.
I can give you just the 5 steps or 3 steps actually how to do it. So you open it on your laptop. You press on the red button to share the screen. Then you choose the application, and that's it. It doesn't work?
No, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
Show a presentation.
I will share with you the
Chrome. It shows what I can share. What I can share is Chrome tab, window, or the whole screen, but I can't share anything from my laptop.
If you press the window part, the tab, then you will have the list of the windows which are opened.
Got it. Hopefully.
Just ask me.
You're the teacher.
Select the
no,
PowerPoint.
But I can't. No, I can't. My system doesn't allow to share it.
Okay, then no problem at all. Send it to this email address. I will start it for you.
Sorry, guys.
No problem. We can do it maybe in between with another presentation. The second one or the third one was Luca. Do we have Philip and Yankee Bravo with us?
Yeah.
And would you like to present your results? Perfect.
Hopefully that works. It's a lot of data actually, and to start with the first part of our homework. What's so special about the founder? As a matter of fact, I never found a clue that Luca Netz was the founder.
Because he was not.
Exactly. So
well done.
Let me tell you something about the Pudgy Penguins, which is, I mean, they're cute, they're nice, they're lovely, they're adorable, but nevertheless, they were launched in the middle of July 2021. And they became one of the most popular NFT collections with over 60,000 Ethereums in trading volume. Nevertheless, or let me put it that way. There are also some celebrities which I have no clue who they are. For a National Basketball Association All-Star Steph Curry, I had never heard of him. Or a rapper called Tory Lanez, which I've never heard of him as well. Nevertheless, there were several, let's call it accidental delistings on OpenSea. So the declining of seats was increasing. So the original Penguins founders made some, let's call them lofty promises that never came up with. So the whole project was going down actually, and there were some. Well, you might have heard of them. There were some people who were offered to buy the whole project for example, and then pseudonymous Twitter user 9x9x9, who's a holder of the really rare banana tangerine, and well, he didn't do it, and fortunately, Luca came to the rescue and acquired the whole project for 750 Ethereums, which were $2.5 million at the time of sale. And so going back to the first part of our homework, this is what she says about the project. It's an interesting emotion to feel when looking at an NFT project. The collections that evoke emotion are the most powerful. And I think that's brings us to what we call, or what I call, two add-ons to this normal NFT. It has related collections stated on the right top of the page. But the biggest one is the Lil Pudgies. It's a collection with more than 22,000 NFTs, and I mean the original NFT has already 8,888 NFTs as well. So that's an enormous amount of NFTs. And there's a second, in my opinion, very, very rare and clever add-on. They do sell penguin toys. Let's call it toys. Wait a second. So what they established was a high sellout of more than about 100,000 toys priced from $5 to $35, and they are sold online and also through retailers as well internationally. And each comes with a birth certificate and a QR code that unlocks a series of NFTs or trademark on its on their own online platform, Pudgy World. So that is where you build your character, play mini games, and interact with other users. That's what Pudgy World is all about. So, Professor, I think you probably share the presentations later on to all the members of the community. So I'm not boring you with all the data which is written on my presentation. You can see all the figures which are from this morning actually downstairs on the page. So from my side, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any comments, guys? What do you think? Maybe a little bit more in detail. What is so special about Luca? And Philip already said it, actually. Maybe not that clear, but he said it. What do you think? What is so special about this guy? He's also very young.
For me, it's that he dared buy in whole project. I mean, 750 ETH is so much money, but he does so well, and he's so in with the community. Whatever he does, he communicates with his community. So
Yes.
They were now for a meeting, I think, for the last 3 days or something, and he posted the playbook of the meeting on Twitter and say, "Ooh, let's go," and all that. And I think this is what it makes so close, and that you really feel you're a part of it.
Exactly, but we can even go more deep into the detail to understand a little bit more. First, he is from the business point of view really genius. He understands retail very good. The retail is let's say he feels at home in retail. He was before he started in Web3 career, he was already active in the retail environment. So that's why he understands how the retailers are breathing. And it was for him very interesting to recognize the business, which is actually toys-based business, and to bring those small, cute animals, penguins, into the retail environment. And that's what he did. But this is not everything. This is just one part. The another part, and this is what making him, from my point of view at least, so special, he is taking the community with him to participate on that success. So the penguins which are sold at Amazon in the moment are actually IP-based, license-based, and the license is owned by the community members. So it's not his money, it's not his success. He's taking part of that as well, of course. He's getting some kind of margins for sure. Company which is behind his company project. But the guys that are owning the NFTs are actually selling those IP, means licenses, to the retailers. So the major guy who is earning the money is the owner of the NFT. And this is so special because he was able to create business concept on that way that the community is participating and creating the money, actually. So this is absolutely smart. And I can tell you and show you the one sentence which I like from him. And this is again showing the complete strategy from him. Do good for your people and ask nothing for return. And this is the way. And this is really like that. He is creating the environment so that everybody from his community can create and enjoy the benefits. And he don't expect anything in return. And this is very important point, to be honest and to try to create the beneficial, let's say, environment for everyone in the community. And I'm sure that you already recognize the pattern. If you compare it with Frank and his community and compare it with Luca and his community, there are very similar topics. We will come back to that. I would like to share now, I received the email, and let me try to share your file. So maybe we can talk about Betty now.
So I got no points.
Sure. Yes, the points. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Yes, come on, guys.
I was joking.
Give us the points.
5. Here we go.
But if everybody is getting 5 points, then
Yeah.
we will have. Okay, then I have to think about how to deal with that. 4.5, yes.
Yeah, right.
Sorry,
Nia gives me another 4, so it's quite clear right now.
Sorry.
I'm not an engineer.
Don't forget, I have my points as well, so I didn't give my points. I will do it later. I will collect everything, make summarize, and then inform you on the next session about the results, okay? Can you see the screen and the presentation of Betty?
Yeah,
okay,
I can perfect.
See it. I think everybody else as well. So just tell me if I should move it around or whatever, or you can just, it's looking really good. Yes.
Maybe you just, well, maybe you can, well, I just start and you follow me closely, please.
I will do my best, yes. I will do my best.
Guys, as I explained, I'm no engineer, and you might have, well, guessed it yourself. I'm a storyteller, and that makes me so, I felt so close to Betty because Betty is a storyteller herself. But first of all, let me talk about our team. Of course, it wasn't me all by myself. We were 3. We lost Mia due to very much work in college, so she felt she was with her heart, but the rest, well, was the 2 of us anyhow. Betty, pre-COVID, Betty was used to work as a co-director for a creative production company, and she did that together with her husband, Syke. And well, they're both very creative. I'd say he's an artist. And when COVID came, they lost the most of their biggest projects. So they had to think about what they could do, how they could do it. And he introduced her to NFTs, which was pretty good for Betty because Betty used to be, during her active agency time, an advocate for women rights, diversity, and all that stuff. She's a speaker of a community, and if I might say so, she really wants to create safe harbors for people, especially for LGBT, diverse people, and for women. But anyhow, everybody shall live to his creativity.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No problem at all. That's okay.
So, and then in that January 2021, Tyke came home and told her, Betty, I heard something funny. They call it NFT. And she was like, darling, what the fuck is an NFT? And he explained it to her, and she said, heck, that's what I wanted all my life, because it's such a good way to work with people, to come to create a community, to express your art, and to do something for our space. Because our space, I mean this LGBT, diversity, whatever, people who needs a safe harbor and who don't want to be the same kind as anybody else. Because at that time, and today it is as the same, most of the projects are run by men. And you almost find no female leaders, and that's why Betty said and Psych said, let's try something else. When we do something, we want it genderless. We want everybody to identify with this crazy creatures, a zombie. Everybody can be a zombie. And so they created Dead Fellas with the idea of inclusive. I'm sorry, my English was inclusivity, whatever, inclusive.
We understand. It's totally okay. Don't worry.
And everybody should. They wanted everybody to feel welcome and to find their home. So this was the beginning, and they started in August 2021. Was it 20? Yeah. Could you please go down a little bit? The token. We are the part of the token. And it's a 10K collection, and it was sold. The mint was for 0.025 ETH. They sold out in 20 minutes and generated around 9 million Australian dollars. That was at that time. Well, I just checked it today. Similar to today, it was 5.65 million euro that they did with their first edition, with their first project. And so, and Betty became very, very fast, something like the mummy of the Web3 space. She's very active in all the Twitter spaces and all that, but she wasn't doxxed because, and why? She said, okay, I don't want people to think if I'm a man or a woman. I want to think, am I a good artist? Am I a good project leader? And maybe I can do more for Dead Fellas if the people don't know that I'm a woman. But last year at the WeCon, she doxed. She said she came on stage and say, hello, I'm Betty. And that was when Gary Vee became part of her Dead Fellas project. I think he bought 3, but I'm not quite sure. And from that on, she decided to do so because she said the in-person connections are much more important for her than this docs who am I. And from that on, she works as a worldwide speaker, and she is very well known in the space with around 92,000 followers on Twitter. she sees herself as a bridge builder between Web 2 and Web 3. Her personal goal is to bring Web 2 companies to Web 3. That follows Psych themselves just signed with United Talents. They moved their project from Australia to LA, and right now Betty is in Paris and works with luxury companies and gaming industries. So, yeah, with that follows as a project for money. The best price was 2.6 ETH. Right now they are around 0.25, but they get so much in they have to do. They have other projects like that fella in the Infected, Halloween, Nifty Gateway, Papara, and the latest is their streaming. What was it called? Streaming fella.
Yeah, with
Streaming.
holograms.
Yeah, streaming fellas. That's the latest thing they just announced. I think 10 days ago. So, and only last week, Betty promised on Twitter, I'm going to stay in the space, whatever will happen. So I'm pretty sure that follows, and everything that she and Psych are going to do for the next years will be a real impactful part of the Web3 space. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great analysis. Totally different than analysis from the engineers. Absolutely. We can see immediately the storyteller and marketing person. Perfect. Great. Thank you for that. No, that's perfect. It's absolutely great. But let's see a little bit behind the curtains, because there is something which you told that already, but I would like to package it a little bit different. You told the nickname of Betty, and you called it Mommy, but everybody called her really Mother, because she's trying to give the feeling to the people that she's taking care of them like a mother. And this is really showing the psychology, which this lady knows exactly. So this is one point. Another point, she moved to LA because the majority of the community is in LA. And now what is, for example, if you are now my community and you are living all in Hamburg, let's say, and I move to Hamburg, how will you feel? You will feel like you are owing me something because I did it for you to move in your city. And if I ask you tomorrow to buy my product, you will do that, not because you need the product, because you want to give me something back, because I'm fighting for you. If I help you, you will help me. And she is genius in that, absolutely genius. People are calling her mother. She moved to LA. She is fighting for the rights of the people. You told it about women rights and LGBT community and so on. But she extended that to everything. For example, as the royalty fees were reduced in the space dramatically, she started, or to even to zero, she started between the founders of the project initiative to fight it back, to fight, let's say, against that. I was connected with her to fight with her together, and I was able to feel what is she actually doing. She's very talented for that. It's not, she's not doing that on purpose. She's doing it because she is the character like that. Okay, she is fighting for the people, and the people feels that they should give her something back, and by that she is creating very strong connection between her and the people which are in the community. This is the reason. That's why the people are not leaving the community. They are mostly in the community. And now let's give the points to Petra as well. Don't forget that. Please type in the points. And as long as you are doing that, I would like to switch back to the presentation. Thank you very much to all of you. Great presentations. Very good. You did a really good job. I will put my points on top in the following days, and I will inform you in the next session who is the winner. Maybe all of you. Let's see. But in between, I want to share now some secrets with you. Real secrets. Let me give you just one more sentence. Oh, from Betty. Yes. This is the sentence that she told in one of the interviews about her strategy, how to deal with community. And she actually pointed really good out. She told to people that she is doing it not for herself, but for the community. And she's asking the community, listening to community what they want, and she's fighting for that, what those guys want. And now you recognize again the pattern between Frank, who is giving something to community what they want, Luca, who is giving something to community what they want, and Betty that is giving to community what her community wants. Very, very similar. And just to put on top, the last one, probably you know this guy. He is the owner of the Seppi Seals, and this is his sentence: create opportunity for others to profit, not for yourself. And this is the point. The others are in the focus, not yourself. Let's conclude. What is common to all of those guys? We have now 4 examples, 3 analyzed very deeply, and 1 little bit, just 1 sentence. What is common to all of them? First, they have all of them very strong personality. All of them are really, really impressive, let's say, as a persons. So this means they have actually very strong personal brand. And this is the key of every community. There is no community without a centric person, let's say. The communities are usually created around the founders, around the people which have a strong personal brand, always. So that's why first you need a personal brand which should be very strong and different than everything else around you. The second, they know exactly how to create the value for others, not for themselves, for others, like profit, like feeling good, like being creative, all of those things. Then they strongly feel the people. They know exactly what is the state of the people around them, and if they feel them, they can give them what they want. And by that, they can create the dependencies like Betty is doing. Because she's fighting for you, you feel like obliged to do something for her because she's fighting for you. Okay? And at the end, all of them have a strong business feeling. So they understand how to make the business. Just remember Luca and knowing the retail absolutely, Frank knowing absolutely Web3 space and NFTs and everything. If you don't have one of those characteristics, it will be very difficult to create strong project community. You still can do that, but then you will need the people which can, let's say, provide the parts of that. Maybe you can have in your team somebody who has a strong personal brand, but you are maybe stronger in the area of, let's say, business know-how. So this can be done, but it's more difficult. Usually one person is founder, and usually this one person has these four points. We will go now into the secrets and into the details, but before that, let me give you 2 definitions about what is actually community and what is engagement. Community is actually a bunch of people, group of the people which are sharing the same vision and mission. This is very important. If the people are just grouped together without sharing the common vision, it's not community. It's just a group of people in one room. That's it. But if they have the same vision, if they have same mission and same, let's say, attitude, then the community can be created. The second important point, the communities have always the same target. If you have the people in the community which don't follow the same target, it will be very difficult to create the community, of course. And the third point, the interests are very similar, very same. NFT and web space and Web3 space is very good because the people are buying actually NFTs because they have already the same interest. Otherwise, they would not buy the same NFTs. But if you are, as a founder, not able to communicate the vision, mission, and interests which are in your community, people will not join you. And the same is if you are trying to get the followers, for example, on Twitter or whatever. If you are not able to communicate your vision and your mission, people will not be able to join you because they don't know what to follow. It's very simple. If we are talking about engagement, usually people are thinking about engagement like, followers, like likes, shares, and these kind of things. This is actually not the engagement. The engagement is actually either the feeling to belong to somebody, to something, or really being involved in certain activities. you are now engaged with me because you are active, you are doing something with me, and I don't need your likes, I don't need your shares, because it's much more what we are creating now. We are creating through the engagement connections, and this is what you need. You don't need likes, you don't need follows, you don't need shares. You need engagement, which is creating actually connection between the people. And this is always a certain time. You see, now we have around 1 hour engagement. This time is what I call engagement, not your like. This is important to understand, because if you are creating community, you have to create this kind of engagement and not the likes on the Twitter. Okay. And if you are able to repeat that, then you are getting the right engagement. Now we are going into the detail. We understood now what is actually community. We understood how the people which are actually doing great job, how they are doing and what is special for them, about them. Now we will talk about why do you need community, and we will talk about characteristics of the community, and then how to create those characteristics. Let's talk about the topic, what is actually community? We discussed that, but why do you need that community that we just defined? I have 3 points which are important, and actually nobody is telling you those 3 points. People are telling you just we need community just to have community, to have success, but nobody is telling you why. Why do you need community actually to have the success? What is the relation between community and success? And it's very simple. There are 3 points. First, community is creating value, but not because, I don't know why. Very simple. The community is creating demand on one side because they want to be with you. They want to be engaged with you. They want your products. That's why they are creating demand. If demand is created, the value is created. Remember the last session, we had this balance, on one side we had supply, on the other side we had demand. This side with demand is influenced by the community. Okay, if the community is bigger, demand is bigger. That's why it's my target to create as big community as possible, not because I want the number as it is, but because the demand will be bigger. This is one point. The second point, the community is actually creating the value because all of them are telling you that there is a value. And everybody else. I told you in one of the sessions as we discussed what is creating the value of the NFTs and the cryptocurrencies in the second session. And I told you if everybody is telling you this coin has value, it will have the value. It's like a social agreement which is created. For that, you need community. And for that, you need bigger communities. If 1 million people are telling you that this pen is $200, it will be $200. So the community and the people in that community are creating the value of the products. And the third point is actually the community by itself is utility. What does it mean? Remember Frank as an example. In his sentence, I told you that he is actually creating the safe environment so that everybody feels good and able to be creative. This is the feeling, and that feeling, that emotions are actually product. And this product is the utility. So the product can be physical, but it can be abstract as well. Feeling good is product. And that's why you can use the community to create the product. If the community is small, it's easier to create the feeling of how good it is. If the community is big, it's a little bit more difficult, of course. Okay, so this is the value which is related to community. You need community in order to create the value, not because you like the community. You need it for the value. The second important point is you need it because it's your market. There is no better and easier way to create loyal customers which are buying your products than community, because they love you. They follow your mission. They are on the same mission like you. They are following the same vision and they have the same interests. There are no better and no more loyal customers than members of the community. That's the market. And the third point is the easiest way to create the profit is in the community, not outside the community, because those people are already around you and they want to push you. They want to push them together with you. So that's why you need community for profits. If somebody is telling you something else, this story is simple, not true. It's naked truth. Okay, but what is actually the great community and how to recognize if you have the great community? Why is it important to recognize that? Because if you don't have great community, if community is not ready, you will not be able to sell anything. So you need community which is ready, and ready community means that it's motivated community, that's identified community with your values and with your visions, that it's engaged like we defined before, like we are engaged now, not with likes and shares and these kind of things, and that it's big enough. It's not helpful for you if you have thousands of products, let's say, that you want to sell, but the community has just 10%. This is not the best way. But if you have just a small amount of products and something else is your product, the small community could be perfect. So it's not the question of the size, it's the question of the project and the targets that you have. Okay, if you are, let's say, targeting to create the community which is motivated and which is engaged and which is your new market, and by the way, if I'm talking about the community, I'm also talking about the followers. It's a totally set. There is no difference actually. What do you need actually to be able to do that? You need a certain frames. People need frames. If you let the people do whatever they want, they will not feel comfortable. They will not feel good. They need rules. And the rules are not always just the laws. The rules are also values that you have in your community. For example, if you're running your Discord server, you are trying, of course, to establish certain way how the people will communicate with each other. These are the rules that you are defining. You want that everybody is kind, that everybody is nice to each other, and so on. These are the rules. If somebody is not fitting in those rules, you will try to move him away from your community. So this means you need frames which are actually created through the values, through the vision that you have. The vision is sometimes limiting the people, but you need the people which are following the same vision. Through the mission and through the guidance. This means you will have, for example, certain rules. If somebody is joining your community, let's say, you will do some kind of onboarding, for example. You will have a certain process how to help those people to establish the connections in the community and so on. And the last point, which is very important, and it's related to the frames, people need frames which are creating conflicts. I'm sorry to say that, but if the community is nice and good and everything is fine, it's getting boring. Nobody will stay in that community. So you need conflicts. And as somebody who is creating the community on purpose, you have to create on purpose drama. And it's not that bad. It's just, I'm just telling it in the moment like something very, drama. But it's not like that. You can create, let's say, the conflicts which are even outside of the group. For example, you can comment something what is happening around you and it's bad from your point of view. This is conflict which you create, and you can push this conflict, let's say, even to higher levels, so that everybody is engaged in the conflict, talking about bad guys. You have like an enemy which is outside. If you have that, you will create a drama in the group, and if you have drama, you will have a good community. Don't forget, there is no good community without drama and conflict. Like storytelling, I'm sure Petran could explain us even much more in detail about that. Okay, this was everything introduction, just to understand what is, let's say, what are the basics of the communities and how the communities are breeding. Let's go now in 3 simple steps, let's say, that I'm using actually, or used in all those communities which I created to create them. The first step I called Mr. Peter. And actually I'm using this first step also in my company. And this is totally the same topic and the same target. In the first target, I'm just defining who is Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter is not existing. This person is something totally virtual, but it's my customer, let's say. It's my ideal member of the community. It's a person which has a certain values that I need, certain characteristics that I need, and it's somebody that I'm targeting, let's say, to get to be in my community. Whatever I'm doing for the Mr. Peter. In my company, I really have a description, and I will show you, from Mr. Peter. This is my Mr. Peter. in our company. So if we are doing any kind of marketing strategies, advertising, posts on the LinkedIn or whatever, we are doing them only for this Mr. Peter, not for everyone, just for this Mr. Peter. But in order to create this card of the ideal customer or ideal member of the community, you have to understand and to know your community. You have to ask yourself and to analyze. For example, when are your potential community members online? Which kind of brands do they like or not like? Do they engage with those brands, on which way and when? All these kind of things, including demographics, like in this picture. If you put all that together, you can create a card, I call it ID card, of Mr. Peter. You can call it however you want, of course. Mr. Peter is our just idea, just the name. And by the way, I just asked a couple of hours ago, one day ago, the people on my followers, let's say on Twitter, to understand what is the age of the people, because through the time this is changing. And now I found out that between, let's say, 30 and 40 years old people are the most people in my community. And that's the reason why you liked punk music. Because if I put you now here, the music, hip hop is already on the level, on the edge, on the border. But punk is perfect for the people between 30 and 40 years old, even a little bit older. Over 40 would be even better. So that's you understand now why did I use the punk music? Because the people which I'm mostly related to and which are my followers are probably generation which like this kind of old music. And you resonated on that music. You commented like it's good, and you commented on the Twitter. You see, I created engagement, let's say, by the simple music, and only because I knew that you are part of the generation which is actually fitting to that. So this means whatever you are doing, you have to do it with purpose. You have to do it with a target and with Mr. Peter in your mind. If you do it, you will get reaction. If you get reaction, you give it more to those people, because then they are showing to you that they like that. The second very important step is to create a strategy. And now I just gave you an example how to do it. If you know the Mr. Peter exactly, if you know exactly which generation is this person, if you know which brands this person likes and so on, you can create exactly, let's say, the strategy about the content that you will give to that person, and about channels that you will use for that person, for Mr. Peter. But never forget one important point. You are not creating all those content for you. So this means whatever you do it for Mr. Peter. And this will be sometimes very difficult, because we are, as a human beings, we want always to create something that we like. That I like pictures that I draw, and of course I'm doing it for myself, and then I have excuse because I'm an artist and I want to express myself. Sorry, bullshit. If you want to create community, you have to do it for that group of the people which is your target. Remember Betty, remember Frank, all of them are doing it for the community, not for themselves. We even don't know what they like. We know that they are doing for the people in the community. This is the point. The strategy should contain the content topics, how to create it, when to create it, and what to create. But it should create also, it should contain also the part which is maintaining the community. This means if you don't start with the maintenance of the community, even before you create community, it will be very difficult later to maintain it. I know that because I created the big communities and I was not able to maintain them because I created mistakes on the beginning. And that's why the part of the strategy should be maintenance of the community. If you don't have the community now, fake it. And this is very good strategy. Fake it till you make it. If you do it like this, usually this is really, really helpful. Again, you have the similar topics which have to be inside, like who should be maintained, when should you maintain, and how should you maintain. You should know all these topics before you start the implementation of the strategy. And the third step is actually a very simple one. It's the execution. And now I'm sorry to say that, but there are no shortcuts to success. This means you really have to invest lots of efforts in order to create the community. Sometimes you can use the community managers, vibe managers, collaboration managers, and all these guys. This is okay to use for sure. But mostly you have to invest lots of efforts and lots of time in order to be successful. It's like that. Community is created one by one. I have several tips before we leave the session for today or close the session today. One is going into the direction of Peter's specialty, and this is storytelling. Storytelling is a very important part. I personally differentiate two kinds of stories, the big story and the small story. The big story is related to me. The big story is related to the founder and the mission and the vision which I want to do. So I want to lose the weight. This was my mission as I created the big group on the Facebook. Okay, this was the big story. My way to lose the weight was the story that I had. Okay, my target was there. There was antagonist and protagonist. I was the main, I was the hero, and the weight was the problem. The conflicts were there. I was trying to lose the weight and I was not able to use the weight. And this was the conflict. And I didn't want to lose the weight actually, because I wanted to create community. By the way, I wrote the book that I wanted to sell. And for that, I created the community. And that's why it was not the target that I lose the weight. The target was to create the community. So this means I need the conflicts which are happening all the way around. This is the big story, okay? The small stories are the small pieces which are belonging to the big picture. Like, for example, today I want to run, but I'm too heavy and I cannot run. And I'm struggling. I'm trying to run. I'm trying, but I cannot. I'm struggling. And then I create 10 posts on the Facebook how I'm struggling to run. At the end, I run, but the people engage with that because they are in that group, because they want to lose the weight by themselves as well. And they are immediately able to identify with the big picture. If they find a small picture, they enjoy the community. And this is how you can really, really easily use the, let's say, storytelling to create your communities as you like. Just don't forget, there are just 3 very important elements that you have to have in your story. Always a kind of setup where you explain what is the environment, the conflict, and resolution. That's it. Very simple. Nothing else. And you can put this even into the tweet. Even the small tweets with 280 characters can have setup, conflict, and resolution. Check next time if you are checking the tweets which I'm mostly publishing. Most of them have exactly this structure. Sometimes this structure is difficult to find, but mostly I have set up, I have a problem which I'm describing, and at the end I have a solution. We love us, each of us, and everything is fine and whatever. You understand? So even for the smallest piece of content. Okay, so let's continue with some more tips, let's say, before we finish that. What are actually my learnings out of all those communities and all those accounts which I have? And by the way, this is just a part of them. I have much more. Let's run basically through those learnings. One big learning is that the community is created one by one. And this means following. If I have now Petra, for example, in the group in this session today, she is the most important for me in this moment. If I have Johannes in the group in this moment, he is the most important for me in this moment. I'm not thinking about the big communities, thousands of people. No, I'm just focusing on one person, which is now around me, or in this case, 6, 7 persons. And you are the most important for me. The world is not existing around you, just you. I want to give you the feeling that you are welcome in this community, that you feel good, and that you create, that you enjoy the value which is created by this session. That's the point, one by one. The founder has always to be part of the community. You will not be able to direct this topic to somebody else. You will not be able to pay somebody to run the tweets for you. This will not work. You need a founder because the founders have a special energy for that. If I mean founder, I mean also account owner, if you want the followers or whatever. You have to be very honest. If you are not honest, community will find it out immediately. This is maybe people understand and feel the vibrations if you are lying or whatever. Even if they don't see you, they will feel that, and then you will lose those people and you will not be able to create a community. Storytelling, very important because of the feelings. If you have the feelings, you will have the strong people and strong relationship. The trust is the most important point. If you are able to create trust, people will follow you. Just think on Betty, and people trust her that she will fight for the rights of those people in the community. She has trust, and because she has trust, people are really, really following her. And don't forget, you need drama. There is no nice community. You need always drama, but the drama can be outside of the community. It's not always necessarily in the community, but you need something that you have to fight, like, like in every story. So far, so good. And last point, use the old-fashioned tools, like, for example, newsletters as well. So if everybody is using TikTok, for example, it's fine. You can use it as well. It's great. But trust me, the results of the old marketing tools, like, for example, newsletters, are still much better than all social networks together. For example, we have in the Ape School around, or let's say in the company, this is even better. In the company, we have around 10,000 subscribers on the newsletter that we are running. If I send the invitations for the webinar with that mailing list, I am creating totally full mail webinar in a second, around 100 people out of 10,000. Great. If I do the same topic, same campaign on the social networks, and we have a lot of followers as well on the social networks, I reach around 20 up to 30 people, which then join the webinars. And you see the difference? Old-fashioned newsletter, 100, 120 people. The new, let's say, LinkedIn, for example, and these kind of social networks, 20 to 30. So, but which kind of tools are performing the best? This is also depending on the community that you want to create, on the Mr. Peter. Maybe Mr. Peter, in our case, is somewhere, old-fashioned guy who reads the newsletter. But if the Mr. Peter is very young one, who is always on the TikTok, of course, my newsletter will not reach him. So it's depending on the skill on the profile of the people that you want to reach as well. So far, so good. And as the last point, I want to share with you this link. Let me just check if I can copy it into the chat, because it's a description of Luca Nets. I'm sure maybe you even know this tweet describing his learnings. And this is a very interesting journey that he had. Just let me try to find the link to copy it into the chat. It will be easier for you to use it. Read it. It's very interesting, and you will learn a lot. Let's say I gave you my view and my learnings, but his learnings are also very, very interesting. And here is the link. You can take it. So, guys, do you have any questions? Feel free before we close the session. I hope you are still there. If you have no questions, if you have questions, go ahead. We can discuss it. Ask whatever you want. I'm ready to share with you all the details that I have and I don't have. By the way, I have, for example, 6 or 7 different YouTube accounts, just for you to know. And I can tell you it's very difficult. It's very difficult to focus on more than one brand, let's say, whatever it is. That's why I would not recommend to do it on this way. This is really, really difficult. And imagine, for example, one of the YouTube accounts which I have is around my dog, because I was filming, let's say, all the details about how my dog was growing, everything. And it's not that big channel. It's maybe 2,000, 3,000 people which are following. But this is totally different subject than my private account, which you see over there. And it's very difficult to switch in your head between the brands, personal, private brand, and dog, let's say, as a channel. That's why focus on one. It's much better, much easier. Darko is an influencer. I would not say that I'm influencer, or other way around. All of us are actually influencers because everybody has a certain network around yourself. It can be your family, your friends, whoever, and you are influencing them anyway. So everybody is actually influencer. So I would not say that I'm kind of big influencer. No, I'm not. But nice that you say that. And I don't want to be influencer. There is no value in that, actually. So yeah, Twitter accounts, I don't know. I have maybe 6 or 7, something like that, different. LinkedIn accounts, I have just 1 personal and 2 company accounts. And the Facebook accounts, I don't know, 6 or 7, something like that. How do I manage all those 1,000 things? And for kids, first, I am not alone. I have my wife, which is managing the big part of the private life. Definitely. Without that, I would not be able to do that. I learned to be very effective, let's say. So, for example, I'm sharing the content. The content which I'm publishing here is mostly very similar to the content which I'm publishing here. There are just smaller differences, let's say, or other way around. So that's why you can manage that. It's okay, but it's difficult because you have to focus. In the moment, I'm mostly focused on the Professor John Keating, and there are the biggest results. All others are, in the moment, not really in my focus. So that's why I'm losing engagement and all these kind of things. So my advice, focus on just one thing, everything else. It will be difficult. Yes, it is difficult. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for this great session. Totally different than all other sessions. You did a great job. Thank you for that. Next time I will prepare the results, let's say, and then we can discuss, of course, the winners and who was the winner. And next time we will talk about financial topics. Thank you very much. Enjoy the week and stay safe.
You too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I got a 44 piece that'll shut up, nigga. My niggas gon' floss to this. My cripped out homeboys gon' walk to this. Creep to the spizzot and stash my nizzot. Been called the dizzot. You know we got it, lizzot. Pop right back on your monkey ass. Then cock the Glock back on your funky ass. Been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. Let's get loot like Snoop nephew. 6 steps.
Attempt to adjust your radio. There is nothing wrong. It's a must. I get my hands on some dead presidents. Can't be hesitant cause the game goes on. Do not attempt to adjust your radio. There is nothing wrong. It's a must. I get my hands on some dead presidents. Can't be hesitant cause the game goes on.
Here we go. Some of this millennium shit from the DOC, nigga. And as long as I'm fucking with niggas like Ice Cube, Ran the motherfucking villain, Snoop Dogg, Dre the motherfucking doctor, Baby #1 stunner, nigga, Jazzy Faye, Nate Dogg and the Kingpin, X to the motherfucking Z, 6'2", my motherfucking Silverback family, motherfuckers. So as long as I keep making these records, this is what you gon' get. The shit. Take that, motherfucker.
One more strike and I'm through, nigga. It's the bottom of the night, swinging for my life. I'm up at the plate, going for the gate. They got my mom seated in Section 8. Been on deck since my last felony. I'm that 0-for-2 motherfucker with the Louisville slugger. Shay Whitey, that left hand punk is on the mound and he coming with that off-beat jump. It's the West Side Hustlers versus these LA pigs. You can say the Dares versus the Nig. My little homies in the dugout, they looking sad cause 14 niggas done struck out.